I came out and I saw a fireball.
Do you know what you're going to do now?
We'll find a way.
We will rebuild, and we will rebuild together.
So geographically, we can orchestrate an effective attack on it.
Have you ever thought about a celebrity, once shining under the bright lights of red carpets, now fighting for survival in a sea of flames, struggling to take a final breath amidst choking smoke and blistering heat? Figures like Eugene Levy or Mark Hamill may have been lucky enough to escape the wildfire, watching their luxurious homes crumble to nothing but ashes. But what about those who weren't so fortunate? The frantic steps of panic, desperately seeking an escape in the blinding darkness, their cries drowned by the violent crack of falling trees. Can you hear it? Some made one last attempt to reach loved ones, only to have their calls met with nothing but gasps fading into eerie silence. Who were they? Once radiant on screen, captivating millions with their talent and charm, these individuals inspired so many. Now, however, they've become tragic symbols, their stories forever etched in the ashes of their sacrifice. Amidst the devastating losses, one name stands out: Dallas Curry, the legendary Hollywood actress. This time, however, she is remembered not for her radiant presence on screen, but for the tragic end of her life in the ferocious blaze. At 95 years old, Dallas Curry passed away in her home in Altadena, California, as the ruthless Eaton fire consumed not only her life, but also the memories and legacy she had built over the years. On January 7th, the notorious Santa Ana winds swept through Southern California, carrying heat and embers that ignited wildfires across the region. Among them, the Eaton fire emerged as a monstrous force, destroying hundreds of homes and claiming lives. In her modest home in Altadena, Dallas Curry had spent nearly 3 decades of her later years finding peace with her family after a lifetime of brilliance on screen. Yet, that very home became the site of her untimely death. Her granddaughter, Dallas Kelly, recalled how Curry refused to leave her house as the fire raged on. Mama D always believed her home was the safest place. She said she had survived so many upheavals in life and that fire could never take her sanctuary away, Kelly tearfully shared. As the fire spread, Kelly tried desperately to reach her grandmother but received no response. I called her constantly. I texted, contacted neighbors, and even prayed she had found refuge somewhere safe, Kelly said. But all efforts were in vain as the roads leading into Altadena were sealed off by flames and smoke. In desperation, Kelly and her family drove around the area, searching for any trace of her grandmother. We went to evacuation centers, calling her name in every room, but no one had seen her or knew where she was, Kelly recalled. The helplessness grew unbearable as the fire intensified. The Santa Ana winds not only accelerated the blaze, but also pushed temperatures to extremes, making firefighting efforts nearly impossible. The flames didn't just consume homes, they extinguished hope and drained the resilience of those left behind. On January 12th, after 5 days of searching, firefighters confirmed they had found Dallas Curry's remains among the ruins of her home. Kelly and her family were escorted to the scene to identify her, a moment that Kelly described as beyond words. The house is nothing but ashes now. Everything is gone, except for her beloved blue Cadillac, Kelly said, her voice breaking. What remains is a haunting sight, charred with fragments, collapsed walls, and the faint shadow of a life once filled with brilliance. The loss of Dallas Curry symbolizes an irreplaceable void created by the wildfire tragedy. But her story is not merely a personal one, it serves as a grim reminder of humanity's fragility against the overwhelming forces of nature, as well as the gaps in our disaster preparedness and emergency response systems. We begged for help, pleaded for faster action, but nothing came quickly enough to save my grandmother, Kelly said, her voice trembling with both anger and grief. This fire wasn't just a natural disaster. It was the result of our lack of preparedness and our failure to respect nature's power. Though she has passed, Dallas Curry's image lives on in the hearts of those who loved her. Her family is planning a special memorial to honor her life and legacy. Mama D wasn't just a Hollywood star. She was the heart and soul of our family, an inspiration to everyone who knew her, Kelly said. To audiences, Curry was a symbol of Hollywood's golden era, a woman who overcame countless challenges to become a legend. To her family, she was a loving grandmother who always put family first and guided them through their darkest times. The passing of Dallas Curry, along with the thousands of homes destroyed and lives uprooted, is a stark reminder that we cannot continue to live without better preparation for such disasters. Wildfires are not merely natural phenomena, they are also consequences of climate change and neglectful environmental management. When I look at the ashes of my grandmother's house, I don't just see loss. I see a wake-up call that we must do better to protect what we hold dear, Kelly shared. Dallas Curry lived a life full of meaning and inspiration. Her passing is a profound loss, but it also stands as a reminder that we must do everything in our power to prevent such tragedies from happening again. Not only Dallas Curry, but another tragic figure, Rory Callum Sykes, embodies a story of resilience and triumph over adversity, though his life ended in unforeseen tragedy. A man who battled blindness and cerebral palsy, Rory defied the odds to live a life filled with meaning and purpose. Yet, on a fateful day, he became a casualty of the catastrophic wildfire that devastated the Palisades area of Southern California, leaving his loved ones in shock and heartbreak. Despite enduring countless hardships throughout his life, Rory could not overcome this final, overwhelming challenge. His mother, Shelley Sykes, shared the haunting memory of her son's refusal to leave their home. As the wildfire closed in, she pleaded with him to move to safety, but Rory stood firm. "This is where all our family memories are. I can't leave it behind," he said, his calm words reflecting his deep attachment to their home and the life they had built together. As the fire grew more intense, Shelley scrambled for help, placing her two cherished peacocks into her car and racing to the nearest fire station. However, her desperate efforts were met with devastating news. It was too late. Flames had consumed their home, and Rory was gone. Shelley was overwhelmed with disbelief and sorrow. Her son, who had braved so many adversities, was lost to a force of nature beyond anyone's control. When Shelley returned to the ruins of their home, she was met with devastation. Everything, their photos, keepsakes, and personal belongings, had been reduced to ashes. The life they had built together had been erased in a matter of hours. Yet, despite the profound grief, Shelley found the resolve to move forward. "I will rebuild this house," she declared. "I'll make it better and more beautiful so Rory can rest in peace." Though the loss was irreparable, Shelley refused to let hope slip away. She vowed to honor Rory's life and legacy by creating a special memorial space where his spirit could be celebrated. For Shelley, Rory would forever live on in her heart and in the hearts of everyone who knew and loved him. Rory Callum Sykes was a man of exceptional resilience. From a young age, he faced immense challenges, born blind and with cerebral palsy. His life was a testament to strength, perseverance, and the ability to rise above daunting obstacles. Despite these challenges, he built a meaningful life, only for it to end tragically in an uncontrollable natural disaster. The Palisades wildfire, which consumed the 17-acre property where Rory and Shelley had lived for many years, was merciless in its destruction. It wiped out not only their home but also years of memories. Yet, Rory's legacy lives on as an enduring symbol of strength and inspiration. Beyond his personal battles, Rory was a beacon of hope to others. He co-founded Happy Charity with his mother, an organization dedicated to helping the less fortunate. Rory approached each day as an opportunity to uplift others, bringing positivity and meaningful change to his community. While Rory's life ended abruptly in the devastation of the wildfire, his story transcends the tragedy. It is a poignant reminder of the fragility of life, the unpredictability of nature, and the strength of the human spirit. His journey continues to inspire, serving as a powerful example of resilience, courage, and the lasting impact of a life well lived. Luckier than many others, some stars have faced the brink of life and death, but ultimately emerged with their lives intact. Eugene Levy, the renowned star of Schitt's Creek, is one such individual. On January 7th, a devastating wildfire tore through Pacific Palisades, turning one of Los Angeles' most prestigious neighborhoods into a scorched wasteland. Levy's $3.9 million home was completely destroyed, but he and his family managed to escape unharmed. Levy recalled waking up that morning to sunlight streaming through the curtains, blissfully unaware of the disaster that lay ahead. I still remember the aroma of morning coffee and the birds singing in the yard. It felt like any other day, Levy shared with the Los Angeles Times. By mid-morning, news of the wildfire began spreading as strong Santa Ana winds fanned the flames, making them uncontrollable. A frantic call from a neighbor shattered the calm. He was shouting, "We have to leave immediately. The fire is getting close." Levy recounted. Grabbing essential belongings, Levy and his family rushed outside, only to find their once peaceful neighborhood engulfed in thick black smoke. The sky was no longer blue, it was nothing but smoke and ash. The smell of burning overpowered everything, and visibility was nearly zero, Levy described. As they piled into their car and attempted to flee, they encountered gridlock on the narrow streets leading out of the area. The roads were packed with cars, and panic was everywhere. People were desperate to escape, Levy said. The situation grew increasingly dire as smoke thickened and flames became visible on nearby hillsides. The heat was so intense it made the windshield feel as though it might crack. We were crawling forward inch by inch. Every second felt like an eternity, and I couldn't shake the thought that we might not make it out, Levy admitted. One of the most terrifying moments came when a car ahead of them stalled, its driver abandoning it in sheer panic. I thought, what if our car breaks down too? We'd have no chance at all, Levy recalled. Just as hope seemed lost, flashing lights appeared through the smoke. Firefighters and police arrived, directing cars to an emergency escape route. I've never felt such relief as when I saw those fire trucks, Levy said. It felt like a lifeline. Once guided to safety, Levy and his family were taken to a temporary shelter. There, they received the devastating news: their home had been completely destroyed. "We lost everything, memories, heirlooms, all of it gone," Levy said. Despite his anguish, he expressed gratitude for what mattered most. A house can be rebuilt, but lives can't. "I'm thankful every moment that my family and I survived." Currently staying with friends, Levy has channeled his energy into community relief efforts. He has provided financial aid and resources to families who suffered greater losses. So many people lost loved ones. Their pain is unimaginable. We have to support each other to rebuild, Levy urged. Reflecting on the experience, Levy emphasized the fragile nature of life. "We think disasters happen to others, but this fire showed me that no one is immune to nature's power," he said. "It's a reminder to treasure what truly matters." Mark Hamill, iconic Star Wars actor, recently faced a terrifying evacuation from his Malibu home as wildfires ravaged Los Angeles. Sharing his reflections on Instagram, he wrote, "Small fires flared up on both sides of the road as we neared the highway. This is the most horrifying wildfire I've witnessed since 1993. That evening, Mark received an emergency alert while at home with his family. In minutes, he, his wife, children, and their pets grabbed essentials and fled. We only had time to take the most important things: documents, cherished photos, and our dog," he recounted. Driving through dense smoke and encroaching flames, Mark likened the experience to a real-life apocalyptic scene. The smell of smoke, the crackling fire, and the crimson glow, it was terrifyingly real, he said. The Pacific Coast Highway, usually scenic, was engulfed in chaos, with fierce winds spreading embers. "I had to stop and check if the road was still safe to cross," Mark recalled. His wife, Mary Lou, held their dog tightly, constantly refreshing her phone for updates. Every second felt like an eternity. "We feared we might not make it," she shared. The disaster brought back memories of Malibu's 1993 wildfire. "Back then, I was younger and didn't have a family to protect. This time, it was far more overwhelming," Mark admitted. Malibu, his sanctuary from Hollywood's bustle, now lay in ashes. "The places I loved are scarred. Recovery will take years," he said somberly. Amid the devastation, Mark praised firefighters and first responders as heroes. "While we fled, they charged into the flames to save lives," he said. Once safe, Mark urged support for relief efforts. I'm lucky to tell my story. Others weren't as fortunate. Let's help them, he appealed. Mark also highlighted the link between climate change and increasing wildfires. I'm no scientist, but these disasters are happening more often. We need to act before it's too late, he warned. This experience left a lasting impact on Mark, teaching him about humanity's vulnerability to nature. I don't know what the future holds, but I believe we can face it together. Let's protect the world we love, he concluded. Amid one of the most catastrophic wildfires in Los Angeles history, Steve Guttenberg, the beloved star of the Police Academy series, became a beacon of hope. Not only did he fight to escape the encroaching flames, but he also put his own safety on the line to aid others caught in the chaos. That harrowing night began with an emergency alert. A fast-moving wildfire was racing toward his neighborhood on Palisades Drive, a critical evacuation route connecting Pacific Palisades to safety. The road was soon overwhelmed by thousands of panicked residents, creating a gridlock that threatened lives. Packing his essentials in haste, Steve fled his home. But as he navigated the turmoil on the road, he couldn't ignore the mounting desperation around him. I had friends stranded on Palisades Drive. They were stuck because the road was completely blocked, he later shared during a social media live stream. Instead of focusing solely on his escape, Steve sprang into action. He urged evacuees to leave their car keys in their vehicles if they abandoned them. If you have to leave your car, leave the keys behind. It'll allow people like me to move your car and clear paths for fire trucks. This could save lives, he implored with determination. Steve then ventured into smoke-choked stretches of Palisades Drive, working tirelessly to move abandoned vehicles and clear the route. The smoke was so thick at times, I couldn't see more than a few feet ahead. But I knew I couldn't stop, every second mattered, he recounted. In those moments of peril, Steve wasn't just a survivor, he became a guide, encouraging others to prioritize safety over belongings. Forget the material things. Just get out safely and help those around you, he urged those still grappling with fear and uncertainty. His courage inspired others to take action, creating a ripple effect of solidarity. Neighbors and strangers alike worked together to free the blocked evacuation route, putting aside their fears to help one another. For Steve, witnessing such unity amid disaster was profoundly moving. After reaching safety, Steve used his platform to amplify relief efforts and call for support for those affected. This is more than a wildfire, it's a reminder of how much we need each other. Let's come together to rebuild and recover, he emphasized. He also paid heartfelt tribute to the firefighters risking their lives to contain the blaze. They're the true heroes. Without them, many of us wouldn't have made it, he said with gratitude. Steve Guttenberg's story isn't just one of escape, it's a testament to courage, compassion, and community spirit in the face of adversity. While many focused on their own survival, he chose to confront the flames to aid those in need. For Steve and those who witnessed his bravery, the memory of that night will remain etched in their minds. We can't let this tragedy be just a painful memory. Let's turn it into a call to action to build a stronger, more united future, he urged. In the fiery chaos of Pacific Palisades, Steve Guttenberg emerged as a symbol of hope and humanity, proving that even in our darkest moments, the best of human nature can shine through. James Woods, the Oscar-nominated actor, faced a harrowing experience when a wildfire rapidly engulfed his neighborhood, forcing him and his family to evacuate in the dead of night. Prior to the disaster, Woods had taken extensive precautions to safeguard his home. Sharing his efforts on X, he posted, "We cleared brush, built escape routes on the hillside, and installed a remote-controlled sprinkler system. Hopefully, these measures will help." However, even the most meticulous preparations couldn't withstand the wildfire's fury. Defying every safeguard, the flames advanced relentlessly, leaving Woods and his family with no choice but to abandon their home immediately. Woods detailed the evacuation on his social media, describing the pitch-black night choked with thick smoke. Flames lined the roadside, their menacing glow closing in. "We didn't have much time. The massive flames seemed to chase our car," he recounted. As he navigated the hazardous escape route, Woods encountered gridlocked highways packed with fleeing residents. Despite the chaos, he continued updating his followers, sharing photos of the encroaching inferno and urging everyone to evaluate. "Don't risk staying behind. Leave now while you can," he warned. Even amid the danger, Woods openly expressed his frustrations over the situation. Critics questioned his stance on climate change, but Woods stood firm, directing blame toward poor management. "This isn't a climate issue, it's about mismanagement," he stated emphatically. Adding to his grievances, Woods revealed that a major insurance company had canceled policies in his area just months before the disaster. "We did everything to protect our home, yet the system failed us in our most desperate hour," he said with bitterness. The wildfire, fueled by winds of up to 100 miles per hour, continued its terrifying spread as Woods and his family managed to escape. Yet his thoughts remained with neighbors who hadn't yet fled. "Many families are still trapped. Every second there is a risk to their lives," he shared, visibly shaken. Even after reaching safety, Woods used his platform to raise awareness about the growing severity of California's wildfires. He also called for a reevaluation of resource management practices. "This won't be the last disaster. We need to rethink how we manage forests and water resources," he asserted. While his comments ignited debates, Woods' actions during the crisis demonstrated remarkable adaptability and resilience. From his early preparations to his timely warnings and his leadership in evaluating his family, he exemplified courage in the face of adversity. As the flames eventually died down, the memories of that night lingered, a stark reminder of humanity's vulnerability to nature's power. For James Woods and many others, the wildfire underscored the urgent need for systemic change before such tragedies become even more frequent. Amid the suffering and devastation caused by the wildfires, a contrasting story emerged, drawing both attention and criticism. Celebrities such as Kim Kardashian, Sylvester Stallone, and Kevin Hart faced backlash for their excessive water usage during a time when California was struggling with severe droughts and wildfires. These stories underscored societal disparities and raised questions about responsibility in times of crisis. Kim Kardashian, known for her luxurious lifestyle, came under fire after reports revealed her excessive water consumption. Despite California's ongoing water shortage, the reality star reportedly used over 232,000 gallons of water beyond the state's conservation limits. Living in a $60 million mansion in a gated community near wildfire zones, Kardashian's actions violated local conservation regulations. Although she later installed water-saving devices, the public's criticism persisted, highlighting how the wealthy often face fewer consequences for their actions compared to ordinary citizens struggling with environmental disasters. Her behavior became a stark symbol of inequality, showing how the affluent can often evade the repercussions of their wasteful habits while the working class is left to bear the brunt of the consequences. Many argued that her disregard for resource conservation illustrated the imbalance in how resources are distributed and consumed. Similarly, Sylvester Stallone faced criticism for ignoring water conservation rules. Like Kardashian, Stallone lived in an exclusive California neighborhood and was penalized for excessive water usage. While other residents struggled with water restrictions, Stallone's disregard for the rules raised questions about responsibility and fairness. However, Stallone's situation took a turn when the wildfire approached his property. Suddenly, his wealth and status couldn't shield him from the devastating effects of nature. He was faced with the same peril that other residents endured, and the impending disaster put his previous water usage controversy into perspective. Despite the fines he incurred, Stallone, like many others, was now vulnerable to the fire's destructive force. Kevin Hart, another celebrity involved in the water controversy, also faced scrutiny for his water consumption. Though Hart's life was marked by success and comfort, his actions were seen as inconsiderate during a time of crisis when others struggled with basic resources. However, unlike some of his peers, Hart recognized the importance of reducing waste. He took immediate steps to implement water-saving systems and participated in campaigns to raise awareness about resource conservation. Though Hart didn't lose property or loved ones in the fires, the emotional toll on him was significant. Witnessing the devastation in California, Hart, unable to directly impact the situation, channeled his influence to gather support for relief efforts, offering aid and raising funds for those affected by the disaster. In contrast to the wealth and privilege these stars represented, their actions, and the backlash they received, highlighted the complex intersection of wealth, responsibility, and community during times of crisis. While they could shield themselves from certain consequences, they too were reminded that in the face of nature's fury, no one is completely safe. When the public criticized celebrities like Kim Kardashian, Sylvester Stallone, and Kevin Hart for wasting resources during the wildfire crisis, their actions highlighted a broader societal injustice. The wealth of these individuals shielded them from many of the harsh realities faced by ordinary citizens. While celebrities can afford to hire private firefighting services or pay fines for violating regulations, the less fortunate have no such luxury and must face the full brunt of natural disasters, even when they follow conservation rules. As wildfires swept through communities, the stark contrast in resources became painfully apparent. Figures like Stallone, Kardashian, and Hart, with the means to hire private firefighting services, had a distinct advantage. They could protect their homes and assets, while others were left to scramble for safety or watch everything they owned go up in flames. This disparity serves as a harsh reminder of the growing divide between the wealthy and the less privileged. The rich have access to resources that allow them to shield their property, while those without financial means are left vulnerable, no matter how careful or responsible they may be in preparing for such disasters. Despite their best efforts to conserve resources and adhere to regulations, the less fortunate are left without the ability to protect themselves and their families from nature's overwhelming power. In the wake of the ruthless fires, only ruins and deep scars remain. Expensive mansions and valuable belongings turn to ash in an instant. Yet, the real pain isn't just the loss of material things, it's the helplessness, the realization that despite their wealth and power, they were powerless against nature's wrath. As the flames die down, the survivors are left to face a new reality, filled with challenges they never imagined.